Hello and welcome. I am No Coffee, No Life. Today's site is located in an area that was previously unavailable to us. It is probably the finest pre-war house you can put your camp in right now on the map. The great thing about it is also, in addition to being the nicest and the best pre-war house, a perfect house to make into a Halloween house. This house is 3 stories. It has a basement, a first floor, and a second floor, and an attic. It's like the bonus spot. It is awesome, and it can be yours. It is located in the border area of the ash heap in the Savage Divide. The closest thing to it is on the right, Denton Sons Construction, and on the left, the Hornwright Estates. Now, this house is already decked out for Halloween, but we're gonna add some magical additions. So, let's get to building, shall we? On the right side of the house, we're putting a small living space. It's also going to have our vendor. It's kind of like a little caretaker's addition just off to the side. It's going to be 2 by 2. One of the foundations is going to be a porch, but the other 3 are going to be concrete foundations. I'm going to place the first one behind this spout, and one of the concrete foundations is going to be raised higher than the other 3 because there are collision issues with the area that it's placed in. Originally, I thought it had to do with the basement, but no, it's something else in this area that I can't see that's under the ground. And this isn't even the only spot that has issues. There are spots in the back that have similar problems with other objects aside from foundations. Also, keep in mind that when you have a foundation raised like this, make sure that it's lined up perfectly with the foundation it's right next to, because otherwise you're going to have that overlap, and later on when you try to put walls up, you're going to have issues. Moving onward to the other side of the house, this is our extension, the walk-in from the garage area. Not that there's a garage here, but this is where people would be walking in from getting out of the car. Now, the reason I had that porch there was to show you that technically you can clip a foundation into this corner, because the extension that's here is pretty malleable. It doesn't fight you when you go to place anything, which isn't the case for the main part of the house. I've just snapped a foundation, and I'm going to show you why you don't want to see it's this giant foundation chunk is in your basement that you want to keep free and clear of giant foundation pieces. So we're going to put these walls up, and I've placed a second foundation here. I'm going to put another wall and another wall. We're going to burn them and put roofs, flat roofs on both pieces, just so that I can show you that you can add this extension here without using any of the new pieces and still have a similar look to what I'm eventually going to build here. You can also use a contemporary porch piece or a log cabin, even though it really doesn't match with the house. You could, in theory, use it here to make this walk-in. I wouldn't do it, but you might want to, and it's all a matter of personal choice at the end of the day. So I'm going to remove these, and I'm going to place my walls again and a roof, and then I'm going to add a porch from the Halloween set that we have now. This is one of the few pieces that I'm going to be using from that set. I'm not really using a lot. I'm using 2 porches, a gate, some fencing, and 1 wall. I put these in, but they're going to be switched out with the contemporary because the contemporary porch matches with this building far more than the Halloween porch sets. I just use the 2 on either side because they're visible from the road, and I don't want the porches or the additions to detract from the house. And these contemporaries would stick out from the road, but they're fine in back. This is where you can place the gate that comes from the Halloween set. You could probably do this with other gates that we have. I'm just showing it with this Halloween gate, but you could probably put fencing there to close it off however you like. If you have the brick and stucco set, you could probably put that door here. I'm putting this one because I want it to be as small as possible. You're going to destroy whatever you put there so that you can pop the porch back on. And then once your porch is placed, you're going to go back and repair your door and everything will be fine. And this is currently what it looks like in the back on this side. Now back to our little caretaker's shed that's attached to the house. Here's where we are with it. I'm gonna add walls, and I'm gonna add these half arches to the top. Now I'm not going to put an arched roof here because I want the windows on the second floor clear. I want you to be able to look out, so I don't want to block anything. And this is where we are, in the mist, not really able to see what I've done. Thank you. Thank you, mist, for making it spooky yet difficult to see. Now, so this is what I have. And those arches are going to stay, but I'm going to use a flat roof. And I have closed off this raised area, and I'm going to slap the porch here. You could, like I said, put a contemporary or a log cabin, or just a foundation with walls that you burned to get that look. And so this is how the house is right now. We're going to go and finish up making this nice and, you know, weathered. I'm going to put this junk fence here, and then I'm going to put 2 half walls. I'm going to put a contemporary above a wood, I think I used. Either that or I used the metal. Either one is fine, and that will look really great in the end. You'll see it'll look like somebody cobbled the wall together. So we're going to finish closing this off, but I am going to pop open the roof just above that raised foundation so that I can stuff a bunch of things inside later on. See, it's open. It'll get closed. But here is the house so far with all of its extensions completed. We have 2 spots left to spruce up. We're going to put fencing back here. This is a spot just like on the side where I had issues with that one foundation where it's difficult to place these fences, or probably any fence here, just because of whatever's under the ground right up against the house. It's let me put the porches and it let me put some of these fences, but others it just won't. It just kind of pops them up out of the ground and says, nope, you can't put this fence here, even though it's letting you clip. And finally, if you remember earlier in the video, I mentioned that there is an attic in this house. And there is, and it needs a little patching up because it has 2 very giant holes in it. And we want to use the space, and we can't really use it with 2 giant holes. So we're going to patch up the attic. The attic has 2 big holes on the floor, and you're going to need one of those little mats and a big rug to close them. It doesn't really work with blueprinting in here for these rugs. I tried, it just refused. So I had to go with the mat and a larger rug. You might be lucky, you might be able to get it to work, but I tried for the longest time and I couldn't. You can cover up this whole area, and the rafters that are up here are not solid. You can literally walk through them. They're kind of there for show, I guess. So you can place these rugs, won't be an issue, and you can cover up all of the holes up there. It looks a little weird, obviously, looking up from the ceiling at this rug that in theory should just flop right on through the hole, but hey, you take advantage of Bethesda's physics when you want to grab some extra space from a pre-existing location. I can suspend my disbelief that these rugs are not flopping through the holes. It's going to take about 3 rugs to patch up the attic area, and the rug that you place on the right over the bathroom section of this house will actually merge into the floor a little bit, and if you forget to be mindful, it'll merge into the bathroom. So keep an eye out how many times you drop that rug on the ground as you're attempting to place the rug in a spot that will cover up the floor and the hole. Because you don't want to lose the rug eventually. That would be very bad. So there it is. There's the second one. And we're going to place our 3rd rug eventually. Now that we have that final rug placed, we can admire our solid attic floor and take a moment to admire the view out this window. And here it is, the completed build, our magical house at the end of the street. It's done, it has everything that I could put in it, and it's ready to be viewed. 2 things to note about the construction of this home. Number 1, I had turrets on the entire time because you will constantly get mobs on this street. And number 2, you need to use blueprints and the dirty bath mats to place anything in this house on the floor, because it's really tricky and the house is just weird like that. Anyways, let's take a look inside, shall we? Now, for the most part, everything in this house is magic related. Oh, look at this lovely bell announcing our arrival. The interior of the living room slash kitchen slash dining room. This is the entirety of the first floor, and I've added stuff to it. Like I've added that TV console and the TV and the buffet and the other table counters and stuff on the counters. There's junk that populates, so if you put anything on the countertops, you'll probably have stuff popping off. So keep that in mind. We're gonna take a look at the basement first. This place is tricky because it's got sections that it's difficult to place, like in the corner that's behind us right now. Lots of junk populates on the shelves, so I didn't put a lot of stuff there. We have our investigator's wall and the investigator who's sleeping off their studies. And here, oh, look, shocking, right behind that wall. That's the tricky part, because there's a bunch of debris there that you can't move. So it's hard to place. Keep that in mind. Onward to the second floor. Pass by this little sitting area and go up the lovely stairs, which, man, wouldn't it be nice if Bethesda gave us these? I've cluttered up the walls with some pictures and an improvised wall sconce, but you know, you could put whatever you want on the walls. The walls are easy to put things on. Here's a little sitting area with a piano and one of the residents of this house, because it is a magical house after all. As you can see, we've conveniently made a path for her to go up and down from the attic. It's not particularly safe, but this is the wasteland, and this is the best anyone could really do for a small child, you know, short of finding a ladder of some kind. And here's the bedroom, all decorated. The bathroom is well lit with a mirror. And wait a minute, I feel like, oh my god, someone is in the tub. It is it's another sidekick. So let's see. I wonder, will we see the inspector here at all during our visit? I don't know. But you can see I've decorated the attic, and you know, it's pretty colorful. It's lived in, and it's everything a child of the wasteland could probably want. We only have so much that we can offer the kids in the wasteland. Onward to the 2 extensions outside the house. But first, let's take a peek at this extension that's already existing on the house. We're just gonna look. I lit it up, and you'll get to see the lovely pet cockroach that lives here. And actually, it really won't attack you unless you start getting close to it, and then it'll, you know, hop down and try to attack you. Try being the operative term. Let's go around this way to see the side. This lovely little entrance. I've just made it simple. It's got its workbench and some boxes for stash. We'll step on out, close the door, and head on to the Caretakers Shack, which is on the other side of the house. And the dawn is coming up on the horizon. It's not morning yet, but it's almost there. And here's the vendor, and we're gonna go right inside and see this tiny spot. It's pretty simple. I've got a bed, you know, the Tinker's workbench. Oh, look, it's the inspector, or a inspector, or the costume of the inspector. And I've cluttered up the upper area that was raised. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I enjoyed making this build and I hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope you learned something from it. If you like what you see here, then click on that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're aware when new videos release. But until next time, happy building in the wasteland. No magicking your way out of this.